Hey Clashers, we had balance changes yesterday with a ton of different troop buffs, with the Meteor Golem though getting nerfed. On top of that, changes to the modifiers and as well some nerfs to defenses, making the game overall easier. With all of this chaos going on, I think we should take a look at the top 5 strategies after those balance changes. And we're starting things off with rank number 5, and that is Mass Meteor Golem still. They're going down from like rank 3 to rank 5, but they're still really strong. I will have as well all of the equipment on your screen so you always know the order, because the white numbers is like the priority order and then the red numbers is like the minimum level you should reach before moving on to the next equipment to upgrade that one as well. The same as this equipment is the strategy having quite some flexibility on the equipment side. For the Warden, you can replace the Healing Tome with the Torch or with the Eternal Tome. Both should work great. On the Heroic Champ, you can go for some different combinations as well. You can go with the Frost Flake and the Electro Boots, Frost Flake and the Rocket Spear, or just Rocket Spear with the Electro Boots. All of those combinations should work great, and you can just go with whatever you have upgraded, so you have some choices over there. If you want to know how to exactly play the strategy, I have a video linked right above me, because this one was already meta for quite some time. The exact same for our number 4 position, which is the Fireball Meteor Golems, which is dropping down from the number 1 spot to the number 4 position. Which means Meteor Golems, they have received the nerf, as well as a lot of bases currently are trying to defend the Fireball, which makes this strategy not the best strategy in the game anymore. Still incredibly strong, don't get me wrong, it is still top 5, but it dropped a little bit in power. Again, because we had this strategy so much over the last couple of weeks, I will link again a video right above me where I explain every single step how you can play this strategy, how you should play this strategy, so you can check that out, because I want to get into the top 3 as quickly as possible, because on the number 3 position, we have the Mass Dragon Riders. This troop was not changed directly, but it has received a massive buff, because this strategy is all about how quickly can I take down the village versus how many hit points do my Dragon Riders have. If the Dragon Riders are dead before the defenses are dead, that's, for obvious reasons, a big issue. On the other side though, with the modifier changes with less CPS, on top of that as well with the Revenge Tower nerf and so on, there's way less damage now in a base, which makes this attack strategy way stronger now after those changes, especially taking advantage of the Totem spell. How do you play this strategy though? The first move you're always going for is the Heroic Champion. You're trying to take down an area of the base with defenses to create pathing for your Dragon Riders. For me, I took down this bottom side of the base because this means the defenses are gone and my Dragon Riders can go from the far right towards the top and then into the base. This is now where the Queen and the Siege Barracks is coming in, which means you want to deploy them on the flank of your Dragon Riders, but at the same time you want to deploy them in places where they can take down as many defenses as possible. Because Dragon Riders, compared to Electro Dragons or regular dragons, they do not really need the pathing non-defensive building wise, which means taking down outside buildings is not as important for this strategy, because they're going from defense to defense anyways. Which means you want to have that Queen in areas where she is taking down a lot of defenses, taking down defensive heroes, and this is kind of the key for her success. With that being said, we have the push going through, and you can already see what I mean with you just have more hit points. It is just crazy how bases now with 5% adjustment and some defense nerfs, how much the difference, how the difference is. It's crazy. I've seen plenty of positive feedback already, plenty of negative feedback as well, and whenever there's balance changes, you always see different opinions. I personally enjoyed the harder difficulty overall better. I enjoyed that more personally. But again, I completely know that for the game, it is better to have this easier, because I've seen plenty of people being quite excited, having in general higher scores now again on offense. So I guess if that's the goal, it is the goal, and it's better for the majority. The next thing though, I have to say the Electro Dragons, I was surprised that they have not had the latest buff reverted, because it feels like everything at the top was kind of either, I don't know, was a little bit nerfed or something, like the Meteor Golems, but Electro Dragons, it is strange. They were already the second most used strategy in High Legends, and it was really close to Meteor Golems, and yet the last buff was not reverted. It is strange, because I am the biggest ever existing on this planet Electro Dragon noob there is. I'm so terrible with this strategy. But now I'm going like plus 300 or something on offense with this strategy. It is crazy. It is, I don't know, like, to me it's just stupid. I mean, it really just shows how strong this troop now is. And at the same time, with just having this insane amount of hit points, it is really tricky to defend, even with the classic things like, oh, put your skeletons to air. Oh, at the same time, you can have, I don't know, like gaps in between the buildings to make sure the electric dragon chains cannot bounce and such. But it is always so little, like, you cannot do as much, because skeletons now, you can easily trigger them, or like, not trigger, but like counter them. Just place a totem. Just place a totem and those skeletons are gone. Super easy. And as well as sweepers nowadays, you can distract them with those totems. So overall, electric dragons right now, easily a top 2 strategy in the game. It is crazy how strong they are now. And yeah, as I said, I would just like to see the latest buff just revert, which means it's not really like, it's just a revert of a buff, and it was, yeah, I don't know. It is strange to me. It is strange to me. That's all I can say. But electric dragons for sure are in the number 2 position with this combination. You can as well try to use the flame flinger more, which was necessary on some bases before those changes. Now you can just brute force every single time the siege barracks, and you should be completely fine. The number 1 position is even more confusing, because this troop already was used in the highest leagues, but has received another really big buff, because it is the thrower, and that is right now the best troop in the game. That was at least not on my bingo card for 2026, but hey, it happened. Thrower being the strongest troop in the game, and you can have plenty of different attack strategies with it. I will just name the one with the lightnings because I think it is the easiest, at the same time really strong. It was the most used version of the thrower army from the last legend season, but you can combine it with a fireball, you can combine it with the queen warden charge in the beginning and then recall into a thrower push. There is plenty of different options of what you can go for, but this version is the by far easiest one. At the same time, it has a lot of power. How exactly do you play this? Well, you're having a warden walk with 2 furnace right behind to make sure that you have your warden walking for like roughly 1 minute. Not any longer, otherwise you will have time issues. The next step for you is to go and lightning some key areas. You can go for different things. Either go for pathing and take down maybe a core of a base, or on the other side, rage towers are typically always a big threat to throwers, because with this combination you have no eternal tone. Which means, if there's a rage tower, you will take a lot of damage. You can just, as I just did, just take down the rage tower and you're being completely fine. As I said, let the warden walk for like roughly 60 seconds, and then you're going to start with your throwers. Now we're getting towards the buff of the throwers, because they have received another HP and DPS buff. I think this should be just reverted. There's no reason for the hit point and DPS buff. Like, there's literally no reason for that. But what I really liked about the last buff, which I think is a great change, is the movement speed of the throwers were increased as well. Because this troop tends to have a lot of time fails. Power-wise, especially with the life gem, they feel unkillable. I mean, they literally are, because 4,000 hit points roughly on every single thrower, and you have 7 of them. That is a lot of hit points, and they're having such a big range that most of the defenses are attacking them really late. So throwers are just really strong, and you can have so much safety with them. And as a base builder, it's really tough to defend them, because all of those isolated isolated defensive bases right now, you just counter them completely, because those ranges are meant that, for example, the queen cannot reach that defense. Throwers, they have a longer range. They can easily do that. And you can see that on this attack as well. We have so much power left. You could say, hey, I swag the warden ability, but to be honest, we're having a double gem equipment on this warden, which means if you would tap that warden, he's just recovering a couple of hit points, so that does not really count whatsoever. But you can still see it is a really big overkill. And that's why throwers are right now the best troop in the game, and you can combine them with different openings. The reason why I only showed this, because I did not want to have 3 out of the top 5 synergies being different thrower variations. That would have been kind of boring. So that's just the reasoning right there. But let me know if you would agree or disagree. I have already seen plenty of people reaching out to me saying, iTzu, this strategy works great now, this strategy works great. And I really want to have a big reminder here, because you will see this as well with other videos popping up and people coming up and suddenly with different strategies, which before that were not really used. The reason is kind of the same thing as why we had Super Yeti or Mass Super Yeti, Mass Revive in the past. they worked because the game was on the easier side. And yes, it's only a 5% change, but with the nerfs to the defenses, you can feel that, especially now with over this time of Legend being so tough, players have just become way better. Which means you can do now really goofy stuff as well. Obviously, like not on the same level as what we had with Town 17 and Town 16. Don't get me wrong, we're far from being on that level. But still, you can now do more different stuff, I assume. And this is just what the changes will do, which means please make sure that you know the difference between something works and something is really strong. Because I have had plenty of conversations where people actually told me, iTzu, the revive spell is really good. Yeah, I guess in the end, everyone saw how good the revive spell is. But that's just for now, because I really wanted to make sure that people are aware of that, because trust me, a lot of strategies will pop up really soon on YouTube again, like, oh, this works, that works, like whatever. Just so you're aware of it and that you're not getting clickbaited. But at least for now, let me know what you think of the top 5 strategy list, which I had right here. And I hope that you're going to have a lot of fun and success with that. As always, thank you so much for watching the video. I will see you guys back tomorrow with the next Clash one. Until then, see ya and bye-bye.